How a cake killed an entire family. Alright, this one interesting. Okay.
It was December 2012. A 46-year-old Eamon Kilbride was having the time of his life. Eamon was always said to be the life of the party, a charismatic man who never missed a chance to make people laugh. Now, he was up on stage at the Whitehall Country Club in Darwin, Lancashire, doing what he did best, entertaining the crowd at his office Christmas party. This year, specifically by horse dancing his way through Psy's Gangnam Style. His wife, Julie, who was also celebrating her birthday that night, was there, watching with the whole office as her husband put smiles on every face in the room, until he collapsed. Suddenly, Julie's husband of 23 years was clutching his chest, telling her he had chest pains before slumping to the ground. She tried desperately to revive him while waiting for the ambulance to arrive. But by the time they got him to Royal Blackburn Hospital around 11:30 p.m., Eamon Kilbride was gone. The cause of death was determined to be acute heart failure. The vigorous Gangnam Style dance had pushed his heart past its limit. He left behind his wife
No way. What is his name?
and killed him. But bumping to the ground and everything her face day that night was their Christmas party club, and Darwin never missed a chance to make people laugh. Eamon was always said to be the life of the party, a charismatic man who never missed a chance to make people laugh. Now he was up
Eamon? Eamon who? Wrong place.
on stage at the Whitehall Country Club in Darwin, Lancashire, doing what he did best, entertaining the crowd at his office Gangnam Style, with the whole office as her husband put smiles on every face in the room, until he collapsed. Suddenly, Julie's husband of 23 years was clutching his chest, telling her he had chest pains before slumping to the ground. She tried desperately to revive him while waiting for the ambulance to arrive. But by the time they got him to Royal Blackburn Hospital around 11:30 p.m., Eamon Kilbride was gone.
Ian Kilbride. Not Eman. Ian Kilbride? Like that? Ian, double E-A-N. I'm so stupid. Kilbride. Kilbride, not Brian. Ian. Kilbride. Is it Ian or Cian?
The cause of death in hospital around 11:30 p.m. Eamon Kilbride was gone. The
Is the
cause of death
subtitle wrong? I cannot find the guy. Ian Kilbride, Gangnam Style accident. Gangnam Style X How do you spell accident again? Accidente double C, dumbass. Death by Gangnam Style. Men suffer heart attack. Holy shit. Oh boy. Okay, they talking about the cake here, a cake that kill entire family, and suddenly he just dropped this, or maybe the cake has something to do with his heart as well. Maybe I don't know. The guy just died. Jesus. All right, so it is real. Jesus died by Gangnam
in
Style.
hospital around 11:30 p.m. Eamon Kilbride was gone. The cause of death was determined to be acute heart failure. The vigorous Gangnam Style dance had pushed his heart past its limit. He left behind his wife and 3 children, Laura
Yeah.
Jade, Jack, and Connor, all of them university students. His death was used as a PSA for middle-aged men across the UK. Professor Bernard Keaveney, a cardiologist at Newcastle University, told reporters, I certainly wouldn't say that people need to avoid Gangnam Style over the holidays, but if you're unused to taking vigorous physical exercise, you shouldn't throw yourself into violent exertion without due preparation. Sound advice, but for Eamon Kilbride, it came too late.
Yeah.
Samuel Wardell had a problem. As a lamplighter in the late 19th century, working the early morning shift in Flatbush, New York, he needed to wake up before dawn every morning to extinguish the gas streetlights he'd lit the previous evening. But Wardell was an exceptionally heavy sleeper, the kind of person who might sleep through a brass band marching through his bedroom. His standard alarm clock just wasn't cutting it, so he did what any innovative
I know the story. This is the guy who set a rock, I guess, so he can like wake up. So basically the clock doesn't wake him up, so he just make this contraption where the rock is gonna fall into his face. I know this story. Daydream, hello. Welcome, welcome. Damn. Yeah, this story is fucking stupid. I've seen this story before. Basically the guy just making a contraption for him to wake up because the regular alarm clock doesn't really work on him. So he just make a contraption when the alarm go off, a massive boulder is gonna like wake him up or some shit like that. I don't know if this is the one, but I remember this story. I don't know if the exact things that he put is a massive boulder or some shit, but yeah, he died because of it. I messed up my sleep schedule of it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nice. We are the same now. I'm in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of fuck my sleeping schedule. I want to go beyond more than just wake up at 6 p.m. More. I think I can wake up at 10 p.m. Oh boy. I force myself to sleep, by the way. Like I cannot do that. I cannot do it. I just, like I get to wake up really, just what do you call it? It's like when your body just, something like that. I don't know what is the English sentence for that, but the oh, but yeah. But yeah, it's no use. I need to keep pushing to the limit until the cycle got repeat again. Because if I just force myself to sleep, I will get, I'm just gonna wake up again. Because the state that I'm in the bed is not the state for my brain to like fall asleep. Like my brain is still very active. So I get, like, oh shit, I wake up again. And it's very uncomfortable because I always get a nightmare because of that. It's really stupid. So I
before
just
dawn
keep
every
pushing.
morning to extinguish the gas streetlights he'd lit
Yeah,
in New
let's.
York. As a lamplighter in the late 19th century, working the early morning shift in Flatbush, New York, he needed to wake up before dawn every morning to extinguish the gas streetlights
That's a
he'd lit the
gorgeous
previous
lamp.
evening. But Wardell was an exceptionally heavy sleeper, the kind of person who might sleep through a brass band marching through his bedroom.
Yeah.
His standard alarm clock just wasn't cutting it, so he did what any innovative man would do. He rigged up a Rube Goldberg-esque contraption that would be impossible to ignore. He connected his alarm clock to a wooden shelf suspended above his bed with a wire and placed a massive 10-pound
Yeah,
stone
there you
on
go.
it.
It is a fucking massive boulder, fucking rock in the top of his bed. I don't know when did I hear
Alarm went
this
off at 5
story.
a.m. It would trigger the shelf to drop. The stone would
And
crash down against the headboard of his bed on its way to the floor, jolting him awake.
what a what a stupid plan. What a stupid plan. You put the stone like on the same side where the place that you possibly be in, I mean, sure, he can the bed it looks like a two-person bed, right? He can be on the right side, and then the stone is gonna fall in the left side, right? But it doesn't matter. You don't know what you're gonna do while you are asleep. Maybe you just like rolling around while you are in dream or some shit, and suddenly you are on the left side. And then when the stone fall in, you die. It's like such a stupid man. We did evolve. We did evolve. Yeah, some people back in the day. I mean, sure, we see many stupid people nowadays, but back in the day, kind of worse, you know. People just don't know shit. Holy Christ. How can you just think that it's gonna be a good idea?
Crashed down against the headboard of his bed on its way to the floor, jolting him awake. It worked perfectly. For months, Wardell's homemade alarm
Nah,
system got him to work on time without failure
no.
until Christmas night,
There you go, stupid.
1986. Wardell hosted a festive gathering at his house that evening, but to make room for his guests, he moved the furniture around, including his bed. When the party ended and his friends went home, Wardell was exhausted and perhaps a bit merry from the festivities.
You fucking
He was simply too
stupid.
tired to pay careful attention to where exactly he was putting the bed back. It ended up being slightly off, just a few inches from its original position. The next morning,
Few
on December
inches.
26th, the alarm struck at 5 a.m. as usual. The mechanism triggered. The shelf dropped. But this time, the 10-pound stone didn't hit the wooden headboard with a harmless crash. It hit Samuel Wardell directly on his head, fracturing his skull and inflicting fatal injuries. He died several days later, on December 31st, from complications of the head trauma, a singular death.
You cannot feel bad for this guy. This fucking stupid dumbass. Holy shit. I mean, yeah, sure is his job, you know, he need to wake up at that time. He cannot be like too late because I'm pretty sure those light is a manual light, right? So he need to actually go there, and if not, you know, people's gonna walk around in darkness at night. Basically, the city rely on him, you know. But still, come on. Holy shit.
The newspapers called it, caused by his own invention. Jay Hunsucker loved Christmas more than almost anything. This 44-year-old title company sales manager from Highland Village, Texas, was known throughout the community for spreading joy to others, especially during the holiday season. His
Okay.
outdoor Christmas lights had been up since before Thanksgiving, so early that his best friend from college was giving him a hard time about it, saying Jay was making us look bad. On Friday, December 4th, 2015, Hunsucker was home with his wife, Alicia, and one of his 3 daughters when he decided to go up to the attic to retrieve more Christmas decorations. He wanted to get everything down so they could decorate even more over the weekend. The attic had walkways and plywood platforms for storage. Hunsucker had obviously been up there countless times before and knew where to stand and where not to. But somewhere up there, something went horribly wrong. He took a wrong step and fell through the drywall ceiling, more than 20 feet down onto the tiled floor below.
20 feet?
His wife and daughter heard the crash and found him lying in the foyer.
20 feet. I'm not American. 20 feet. 2 meters. 6 meter. Holy shit. He's dead. What the fuck?
Surrounded by broken ceiling panels and insulation. They called 911 immediately. Hunsucker was still alive when paramedics arrived, but barely. Minutes later, he succumbed to his injuries in the ambulance, dying before he could reach the hospital. The fall caused multiple catastrophic blunt force injuries, including broken bones and internal bleeding. Highland Village officials publicized the death as a stark reminder about holiday safety. Emergency responders in the area had responded to 3 deaths in the past 5 years from people falling from an attic or ladder while decorating for the holidays, and put out a statement stressing that the holiday season is not immune from tragedy. Please do all that you can to stay safe when exposing yourself to the risk of a potential fall. Hunsucker's death was notably similar to a scene in the famous Christmas Vacation movie where Clark Griswold, another father known for going overboard at Christmas, falls through the attic and lands safely on a bed just a few feet below. But there sadly was no comedic movie logic.
You don't need to
break Jay
reference
Hunsucker's
that.
fall. But it's not just physical safety you need to worry about this holiday
NordVPN.
season.
I knew it.
Our 4th story. The massive floating Christmas tree in Maraca, Brazil was supposed to be one of the town's biggest attractions. At 184 feet tall with 360,000 lights illuminating its white and red structure,
Damn.
this artificial tree would float majestically in the Aracatiba Lagoon near Rio de Janeiro. It had become a beloved tourist
Oh wait, is
destination
it
during the
on the
festive
water?
season, drawing visitors from across the region. On Monday afternoon, December 16, 2024, just 2 days before the official light switch on ceremony, workers were making final preparations to the structure, making sure everything would be perfect for the grand unveiling.
Oh no.
Then, the weather turned. Dark storm clouds rolled in across the lagoon as the wind picked up, creating whitecaps on the water. At 3:45 p.m., Civil Defense issued a rain alert. The company hired to assemble the tree immediately began evacuating workers from the platform. The only problem was they didn't have enough time. The storm hit with terrifying speed and force, attacking the workers with strong winds and torrential rain. Video captured from shore showed the massive structure beginning to sway, then slowly tilting, and then picking up momentum
Oh
as it fully
shit.
collapsed. The entire 184-foot tree
Yeah, that
worked
thing is
so
on
hard
water.
plunged into the water below with an enormous splash. Beneath the collapsing tree, workers on the platform jumped into the water, desperately trying to swim away from the falling structure. Two managed to escape with non-life-threatening injuries, pulled from the water by rescue teams. But 21-year-old Vinicius dos Santos
no.
Abreu couldn't get out of the way in time, trapped beneath part of the collapsing structure. He was rushed to Conde Modesto Lille Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The town declared
How do
2
people
days
just
of mourning,
doesn't really
suspending
see the
Christmas lights and
see the
displays
weather,
throughout
you
the
know?
area as a mark of respect. At the time of this video, investigations continue into the exact cause of the accident and whether proper safety protocols were followed.
Brother, what do you mean investigate? That just clearly a fucking win.
But 21-year-old Vinicius knocked it with an 184-foot and then picking
Look
up
at that.
momentum as it
It's very clear the win.
collapsed. The entire 184-foot tree they worked so hard on plunged into the water below with an enormous splash. But
Investigate what? Maybe for like the safety, yeah? Like if they actually follow the requirement and shit.
suspending Christmas lights and displays throughout the area as a mark of respect. At the time of this video, investigations continue into the exact cause of the accident and whether proper safety protocols were followed. Della Gallagher and her husband were in a great mood on Christmas Day 2012. They'd paid £39.95 each for a 4-course Christmas dinner at the Railway Hotel in Hornchurch, Essex, a pub operated by the Mitchells and Butlers chain. Della was a 46-year-old mother of one who loved being with her family at Christmas, and she was excited about the festive meal, just as the other 128 diners were. The turkey dinner was served hot from the kitchen. They enjoyed their meal, laughed with friends, and celebrated the holiday. But by 5:30 a.m. the next day, Della was violently ill, vomiting, severe diarrhea,
Oh, no.
excruciating stomach pain. Her husband fell ill about an hour later with the same symptoms, but Della's condition got progressively worse as the day went on. Much worse. Paramedics arrived and took Della to Queen's Hospital in Romford, but after examining her, they sent her home, suspecting she had norovirus, a nasty illness they didn't want to spread to other patients. They gave her a shot of something in the ambulance that seemed to help temporarily, but by late afternoon, she took a dramatic turn for the worse. It was, her husband said, horrific. Della's husband held her on the bed, terrified she would choke on her own vomit. Then something changed. He felt her body shake violently as her eyes rolled back into her head. It looked as if she was experiencing cardiac arrest. His brother-in-law performed CPR for more than 45 minutes while they waited for the ambulance, following instructions from the 911 dispatcher on the phone. When paramedics finally arrived, at first they found no signs of life. But then, they detected a faint pulse and rushed her to the hospital. But in the end, Della Gallagher was pronounced dead in the next morning on December 27th at approximately
because of the
8:15
cake?
a.m. She left behind her husband.
Oh yeah, this is
and
the
their young
title
child.
story.
Further investigation revealed a horrifying pattern. 33 people in total had fallen seriously ill after eating that Christmas meal at the railway
Holy
hotel.
shit.
The culprit? Clostridium perfringens bacteria.
What the fuck
one
was
of
that?
the deadliest forms of food poisoning. But what caused it? The turkey had been cooked the day before
there's a
on
turkey.
Christmas Eve, but it wasn't properly cooled afterward. Chef Mehmet Kaya claimed he'd let the meal cool between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., checking temperatures and following protocols, but CCTV footage showed him leaving the pub at 4 p.m. and not returning for the rest of the day.
Fucking
Manager
dumbass.
Anne-Marie McSweeney claimed she had checked the temperatures herself and remembered the figures so Kaya could write them in the log on his next shift. But the pub's CCTV footage showed she hadn't left the front of house for more than 2 minutes for the remainder of her shift. Not nearly enough time to check the turkey in the kitchen properly. So the meat had been left at room temperature for an undetermined amount of time, creating a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. On top of that, it wasn't adequately reheated before serving, as the kitchen team had simply judged the temperature based on the steam coming off the meat, rather than using thermometers. Some of it had been briefly
There is no problem doing that, alright? Because I do that as well. These people is stupid.
based on the steam coming off the meat,
You
rather
can.
than using thermometers. Some of it had been briefly microwaved, but most had just been warmed on a hot plate.
You don't have
After the
thermometer.
outbreak, pub chef Mehmet Kaya and manager Anne-Marie McSweeney made sure to quickly destroy all waste food and falsified food safety records before health inspectors could investigate, attempting to cover their tracks. Both were convicted of perverting the course of justice. Kaya was sentenced to 12 months in prison. McSweeney, who had worked at the hotel for 24 years, wept in the dock when the verdict was read and was sentenced to 18 months. Mitchell's and Butler's restaurant chain was found guilty of placing unsafe food on the market and fined £1.5 million. By early January 2013, the company had stopped using the cooking, cooling, and reheating method in all its kitchens nationwide. Too late for Della Gallagher, but if nothing else, hopefully it reminded restaurants across the UK to take food safety seriously so nobody else would make the same careless, fatal mistake. On Saturday morning, November 19, 2022, shortly after 10 a.m., Haley Brooks, a talented 11-year-old dancer with CC and Company Dance Complex, was performing in the Raleigh Christmas Parade with her dance troupe. The parade route started at the intersection of Hillsborough Street and St. Mary's Street, and the troupe was just one block in when disaster struck near the intersection of Hillsborough Street and Boylan Avenue. Landon Glass, a 20-year-old from Good, Virginia, was driving a white GMC Denali pickup truck pulling one of the dance studio's floats. The float
America,
carried younger
holy
members of the
shit.
troupe, and Haley was dancing on the ground with her fellow performers ahead of the truck. But the parade route at that section had a slight downhill decline, and Landon's truck
God damn
suddenly
it.
rushed forward. Witnesses said Landon was frantically honking his horn, yelling for people to get out of the way as the truck began rolling faster down the slight slope. ABC 11, which was broadcasting the parade, captured the horrifying moment on live TV. The crowd of dancers parted as the truck came through, girls jumping aside in panic. But Haley, focused on her performance and unaware of the approaching vehicle, didn't see it coming in time. The truck struck her at a low rate of speed, but it was enough. Bystanders and police officers rushed after the vehicle, jumped in front of it, and stopped it by hand. Haley was rushed to the hospital, but died from her injuries.
Jesus
An
Christ.
investigation revealed Landon had a disturbing history. Virginia authorities had ticketed him on at least 5 separate occasions since 2021, 17 total infractions in less than 2 years, 4 times for failing to have his vehicle inspected, multiple violations for improper exhaust system and other equipment issues. His most recent citation had come just a month before the parade, in October. It turns out the truck he was driving at the parade had brake problems, serious ones. According to the arrest warrant, they were inadequate to control the movement of and to stop the vehicle. Landon had multiple aftermarket modifications of his truck, but apparently not functional brakes. Well, that irony was lost on no one. He was initially charged with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle, careless and reckless driving, improper equipment, unsafe movement, and carrying a firearm in a parade. In March 2023, the Wake County District Attorney upgraded the charges. Landon would now face involuntary manslaughter, a Class F felony.
There
In
you go.
November 2025, after 3 years of legal proceedings, Landon pleaded guilty to felony obstruction of justice, misdemeanor death by vehicle, and possession of a dangerous weapon at a parade. He was sentenced to 262 days in jail and 400 hours of community service, a
What?
sentence some felt was far too lenient for
Yeah.
taking a child's life. Haley's parents, Trey and April Brooks, established the Shine Like Haley Foundation in her honor. The foundation aims to create meaningful change in safety protocols at parades, ensuring no other family has to endure what they've endured. Grace Horn's parents thought she was
Jesus
asleep at a
Christ.
friend's house on the
It's
night
not-
of
not
December
even like
2nd, 2024,
1 year.
but she had other plans. She wanted to earn extra money to buy Christmas presents for her family and friends, an act of generosity she was well known for. So Grace snuck out of her friend's house in the early morning hours and started making DoorDash deliveries using her mother's account. DoorDash typically requires users to verify their identity with a selfie that matches a driver's license on file, but Grace had apparently found a way around the system. Grace was driving a 2022 Dodge Charger, a muscle car belonging to 19-year-old Hunter Boone, her alleged
Damn.
boyfriend. But Grace was only 15 years old, had no learner's permit, and had never taken any driver's ed. At around 3 a.m., Grace
Go
was
back
driving
to the
along
room,
Highway
kid.
20 near Libby Road when she encountered conditions she wasn't prepared for. The fog was unusually heavy that night, thick and dense as it blanketed the
Oh
road,
no.
reducing visibility to nearly zero.
Stupid
Grace
child.
lost control of the car, veering off the road into the opposite lanes and striking a pole, catching fire on impact. The
Oh
force of the
shit.
crash sent debris flying, narrowly missing a 56-year-old homeless man sleeping in a nearby gazebo. When he heard screams from within the vehicle, he rushed out to help her, but the flames were too strong.
Oh
All he
Lord.
could do was retreat to call for help. When authorities arrived, it was too late. She was pronounced dead at the scene. A GoFundMe was created for her parents, stating, "There is something no parent should ever have to go through." Instead of planning for Grace's Christmas presents being wrapped and opened, it quickly shifted to the intrusive thoughts, the what ifs, the planning of the funeral of your one and only princess. The fundraiser raised more than $20,000 for funeral costs, but the story didn't end there. In September 2025, Grace's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Hunter Boone, claiming he negligently let an unlicensed 15-year-old use his muscle car and DoorDash account. The lawsuit alleged Boone knew Grace was underage, knew she was using his vehicle to deliver food, and did nothing to stop her. Boone denied giving her permission to drive, claiming he only told her she could sit in the vehicle to get out of the cold after they had an argument. He said,
Nah, that guy's a fucking that's a lie. That's a lie. Oh, you can just sit on it. You cannot drive. You can just sit. Just sit in the car. Just be there. You know, don't drive it. Nah, that's a fucking lie. Nobody told people that. What the fuck? This is boyfriend. Oh, I just told her to sit in there. It's not drive. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. No fucking stupid. You think we don't know? Son of a bitch.
said he had no idea she would take the car and start making deliveries.
He has
The
no
text
idea.
messages between them showed Boone had written to Grace earlier that evening.
Of
telling
course
her,
they are.
"The car's at the beach with the keys in it. Whenever you want, you can go get it. Please, take the car. It's colder."
Please.
Grace Horn was laid to rest days after the accident. The GoFundMe described her as always wanting to find a way to fix whatever problem there was. Filled with such innocence, she was taken too young, and her dreams have become memories for those who were blessed to know them.
Damn.
In Newport, Arkansas, in December 1932,
Arkansas.
Miss Walter Ballou was preparing for the holidays. The family lived modestly, farming cotton on their land, but Christmas was a time for celebration. Miss Ballou baked Christmas cakes early in the week, several of them, eager to have everything ready for the festivities. So, on Thursday, December 22nd, when the family sat down for dinner, she shared one of her cakes for dessert. Within hours, everyone became violently ill. The symptoms came on fast and brutal. Vomiting, convulsions, excruciating pain. The
Damn.
entire family, all 5 of them, were stricken with the same horrifying illness. Walter Ballou, the father, died on Friday. His wife died shortly after. Their 3 sons, ranging in age from 15 to 23, died the very next day. Sheriff Albright launched an investigation immediately. When he searched the Ballou home, he made a chilling discovery: 8 pounds of arsenic stored in a barrel in the attic. The poison had been used the previous
Arsenic. What is that? Arsenic is a natural occurring toxic metalloid found in the earth crust, soil, water, and air. With inorganic form being more harmful than and linked to cancer and skin lesion. Okay. While organic form exists in a food like seafood and are less toxic, exposure often occurs via contaminated water, food, rice, poultry, or industrial byproduct. Okay, that is the image. So it's like a carbon thing. The king of poison. What the hell? So it's a poison rock. Ew. It looks cool though. Yeah. It looks like a somber stone from Elden Ring. It looks like that somber stone upgrade.
summer to kill boll weevils and other insects in their cotton crops, a common practice among farmers at the time.
Ah,
But
okay.
how did it get into the cake? That question haunted investigators. Did Miss Ballou accidentally use some of the poison instead of flour when she baked the cake? Arsenic in powder form
How Okay, so they use the arsenic to shoo insect away from the cotton, right? Yeah, how to? Oh no, no, maybe they use hands to like spreading it around, and then when the lady make the cake, and the cake suddenly got contaminated because the lady doesn't wash her hands or some shit. Stone, yeah. Get poisoned by the
Did it
stone.
get into the cake? That question haunted investigators. Did Miss Balu accidentally use some of the poison instead of flour
Nah,
when
I
she
think
baked the
it's
cake?
just
Arsenic in powder form looks remarkably similar to flour or baking powder. In the dim light, could she have grabbed the
oh
wrong
no.
container in her attic storage, brought it down to the kitchen, and mixed it into the
Oh
batter
shit.
without realizing?
Fucking
Or
dumbass.
had someone intentionally mixed the arsenic into the flour during her absence? Sheriff Albright investigated every angle, but he wasn't able to come to a definitive conclusion. The
Okay.
answer, accident or murder, was never definitively determined. An entire family of 5 killed by a Christmas cake, and the truth died with them.
Okay, so the entire family is dead. If they have like a fucking neighbor, then sure, maybe the neighbor have something, like a ill intent. But if they just like live by themselves, having a cotton field and all of them fucking dies, yeah, that's accidental. It's not really murder or anything. So either accidentally put the funny rocks into into the cake, or accidentally not washing your hands after touching the funny rock and making the cake. So yeah, I think it's just accidental. It's not really murder or anything.
It
There's
was
no
Christmas
neighbor
Eve
mentioned.
2024, and Matthew Goldstein, his wife Lila, and their daughters Valerie and Violet were spending Christmas at their newly renovated lake house in Wakefield, New Hampshire. They had plans to attend an extended family gathering on Christmas Day, but
Okay.
they never showed up. Concerned relatives tried messaging and calling each of the 4 family members throughout the day. No response. As evening approached and panic set in, they called the police for a wellness check. At 4:20 p.m. on Christmas Day, 2024, Wakefield police arrived at the house to find a scene of unimaginable tragedy. 3 victims in bedrooms, 1 in a bathroom. All 4 family members were dead. No visible wounds, no signs of struggle. What had killed them? Well, when Wakefield
Okay.
Fire Rescue arrived and tested the air inside the home, they found dangerously elevated levels of carbon monoxide throughout the residence. The propane gas heating system
Throughout the video, we've seen so many people died because of poison now. What the fuck? Holy shit. God damn. Okay, so one guy died because his head got crushed by a fucking boulder. Uh, family lose their, like a family member because of a restaurant accidentally not washing the turkey. And we have a fucking family died because of a fucking cake. Now we have this. One physical trauma death, one the rest of them is poison, either food poisoning or funny rocks poisoning, and now gas poisoning. Holy shit.
had malfunctioned, allowing the colorless, odorless, tasteless gas to fill the home. On a night when temperatures outside had dropped, the family had cranked up the heat and gone to sleep and never woke up because there were no working carbon monoxide alarms in the house. A medical examiner later confirmed that all 4 died from acute carbon monoxide poisoning. New Hampshire Fire Marshal Sean Toomey held a press conference and urged everyone to install and maintain carbon monoxide alarms. It's estimated that carbon monoxide kills more than 400 Americans every year,
Damn.
with thousands more hospitalized. On a day meant for celebrating family and joy, the Goldsteins died together in their sleep, never
God
knowing what
damn.
was happening. On March
Holy shit.
24th, 2005, an 11-year-old girl.
And also, okay, hold on. What's it called again? Monoxide? What? Carbon monoxide. Why do they have that? What carbon monoxide use in the house? Oh boy. Yeah, how the fuck do they have carbon monoxide? Leak from a gas pipe? Or do they have some kind of tank, like a tube thing. It's from gas kitchen. I think Google kind of stupid. It says it isn't used in the house. What a stupid fucking Google. So it is from a gas. Most critical from Alba. I'm from Wish. I'm from Wish, not from Alibaba. Did people still use fucking Alibaba? Holy shit. What the hell? I didn't hear that things from, I don't know, early 2020. God damn. Did the guy still alive? Did the Alibaba guy still alive? And also, by the way, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I don't really have a plan today, so I just like watch videos and shit. Just having fun while chatting and stuff. Oh boy. So it is from a kitchen gas. Yeah. I thought it isn't being used in the house. So is it so it is called carbon monoxide. I don't know. Yeah. God damn it. I mean, you cannot really smell or even feel it. So I think, yeah, it's a silent kill. They just like sleep at night and then never wake up again.
Monoxide alarms. It's estimated that carbon monoxide kills more than 400 Americans every year, with
Damn.
thousands more hospitalized. On a day meant for celebrating family and joy, the Goldsteins died together in their sleep, never knowing what was happening.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
On March 24th, 2005, an 11-year-old girl climbed onto the roof of an abandoned building in South Los Angeles. She had gone to retrieve a soccer ball, but curiosity
I know where
pulled
this
her
is
to the
going.
chimney. When she peered down into it, she saw something that would haunt her forever. A skull with hair still attached. When police arrived at the scene, they discovered skeletal remains wedged in the narrow chimney. The body was that of a young boy, perhaps 12 to 15 years old, wearing faded...
Oh shit. I mean, in Indonesia, we don't have a house that have this thing, like a fucking fireplace thing, right? When Santa Claus get in, whatever the fuck that place called, right? We don't really have this. But imagine that. So which means the voice is like in the fireplace, right? Fuck, Measurement is only in America. What do you mean? Oh, they use feet. They use feet to measure things. We don't use our feet for that. Usually, kitchen gas has added smell due to leaks to know. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of confused though. They say it's not really, it doesn't smell or feel anything. So I don't know because I also use gas stove. Yeah, the thing, right? Stove. It's called stove, right? My English starting to like my brain searching for words in English. Kind of confusing. But yeah, you can smell it, but I do not know why they cannot smell it. Do they like use different type of gas for fire? You know, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or they leave it in the kitchen, right? And then the effect started while they are already sleeping, like they don't really smell it yet, but the leaking already started when they were sleeping or some shit like that. Or maybe I think it says like they forget to turn it off, right? So yeah, maybe when they go to sleep, they just like fall asleep and doesn't really feel anything, doesn't really get wake it doesn't wake them up, and then and then they just peacefully go away. But yeah, kind of fucked up though, like you don't really know that you not gonna wake up. That shit is scary as shit, man.
When she peered down into it, she saw something that would haunt her forever. A skull with hair still
What
attached.
the hell?
When police arrived at the scene,
You know what?
they
Yeah,
discovered
maybe
skeletal
glue is
remains
kind of
wedged in the narrow
smell.
chimney.
The smell is
The body
really,
was that of a young
you
boy,
know.
perhaps 12 to 15 years old, wearing faded tan Levi's jeans and a white shirt. No
Jesus.
shoes. The bones were covered in decades worth of soot and grime. Forensic anthropologist Elizabeth Miller examined the remains carefully, but she found no signs of trauma to the bones, no knife scrapes and no defensive wounds. No evidence of foul play whatsoever.
Yeah, he
At
just
least, not
accidentally.
the kind that leaves marks on bones. She believed the boy had probably died of starvation or positional asphyxiation. Maybe he'd gotten stuck trying to climb down the chimney. Maybe the clay pipe of the chimney muted his calls for help. Maybe it carried the smell of decay up and out, preventing anyone nearby from noticing. Whatever happened, she thought it was nothing more than a tragic, weird accident. But Detective Chris Barling had a hunch. He thought it was murder. When forensic artist Marilyn Draws created a reconstructive sketch based on the skull's structure, local news stations broadcast the image across Los Angeles. Donna Theos was watching the news at home when the sketch appeared on screen. She screamed at the sight of this ghostly drawn face. The boy looked eerily familiar. He looked like her cousin. DNA testing confirmed what Donna feared. The boy in the chimney was Robert Robbie Thompson, who had disappeared on Christmas Eve, 1977. The boy had been in that chimney for 28 years.
Jesus
Robert
Christ,
was
man.
14 years old when he vanished. He was intellectually disabled and suffered from severe epileptic seizures that required daily medication. On Christmas Eve morning in 1977, he disappeared from his home, leaving his shoes behind at the house. The family searched everywhere.
How did
including
he
their
get
building,
up there, though?
which had been a toy warehouse at the time. They knocked on every door, searched every room, but nobody thought to look in the chimney. The main suspect was Theodoric Van Smith, a former boyfriend of Robert's sister. He was violent, unstable, and had a history with the family. In 1985, 8
okay.
years after
Yeah, it
Robert
is
disappeared,
murder.
Smith assaulted and attempted to murder Robert's younger brother, then just 12 years old. While committing the assault, Smith told the terrified boy, "If you don't, I'm going to kill you just like I killed your brother Robert." Smith was convicted of the crime.
Wait, I have what? What do you mean? What is it redacted? Like, is it like a CP shit? What? What did he trying to make him do? Is it scream or is it? I mean, the word scream is not gonna be redacted, right? So yeah, I think is that that the what I'm saying, like the I don't want to say it either, but how they wouldn't smell it. They explain it like I think the chimney like keep it keep going. The air just goes up, so you don't really they don't really smell it because the smell just go with the air, like it just go up as well. So they say like that's why it doesn't really people doesn't really notice it for 28 years. So I'm also guessing that it's stuck in not in the like the lowest part, but the part where it's like kinda in the center things. Maybe. They don't really say like when it was get stuck. It's just inside the chimney. But yeah. Jesus, that was fucked up. God damn it.
"I'm going to kill you just like I killed your brother Robert." Smith was convicted of the crimes against Robert's younger brother and sent to prison for 30 years. But because of what he said
30
to the
years.
boy,
Kill
there
that
was
guy.
reason to believe Smith was involved in Robert's
30 years. What? God damn.
disappearance too. Police got permission to dig up Smith's parents' backyard, looking for evidence. They found remains, but only of dogs. A behavioral psychologist interviewed Smith in prison and concluded he would be capable of the probable murder of Robert Thompson. Yet they couldn't get a confession. Smith wouldn't talk, and without physical evidence linking him to the disappearance, prosecutors hit a dead end, and the case went cold for 20 years. After Robert's remains were found in the chimney, Detective Barlings theorized that Smith had taken Robert to that abandoned building, forced or lured him up onto the roof, and pushed him down the chimney, or threatened him until Robert tried to escape.
Oh yeah, also the building is abandoned, by the way. There's people there, but there's no people like living there.
Chimney and got stuck. The building was known as a place where drug users and homeless people would sometimes shelter. It wasn't far from the Thompson home. But could Barling prove it? No. The bones offered no definitive evidence of homicide. Robert Thompson was finally laid to rest in February 2006, nearly 29 years after he disappeared on Christmas Eve. His mother, Clelia, attended the funeral and called it the Day of the Closure. She was 78 years old and had lived nearly 3 decades not knowing what happened to her son. But the mystery of how Robert ended up in that chimney and whether someone put him there remains officially unsolved.
Okay, Jesus. I mean, you know what? I'm convinced is murder. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure it is murder. Yeah, yeah, it is like abandoned building. Only it's like homeless and drug addict, crackhead, and homeless people there. Oh boy.
On Christmas Eve, 1913, the Italian Hall in Calumet, Michigan was packed to the brim with holiday joy. More than 500 people crowded into the building for a Christmas celebration organized by the Western Federation of Miners Ladies Auxiliary. The brutal
Okay.
5-month strike against the mining companies had taken its toll on the community, and this party was meant to lift the spirits of the striking copper miners and their families during potentially the hardest time of many of their lives. The second-floor ballroom was filled with singing, dancing, and laughter. Big Annie Clemenk, the famous strike leader known for carrying a giant American flag during protests, and other ladies were helping Santa Claus distribute bags of candy to dozens of excited children gathered around the Christmas tree. Then, someone yelled, "Fire!" Panic erupted instantly. The crowd surged toward the only exit, a steep 8-foot wide stairway that led down to the street level. People rushed down the stairs, stumbling, falling. Those behind kept pushing forward, unaware of the bodies piling up ahead, driven
Yes.
by the primal fear of death. Within minutes, the stairwell became a death trap. But there was no fire.
Yeah,
There
stampede.
wasn't even smoke. Mary Koskala, standing near the stage when the panic started, supposedly saw the man who shouted the warning. She gave the police a detailed description. A dark man with a dark mustache. A broad fellow dressed up neat, wearing a high-collared dark overcoat and a white button pinned to his lapel. Several other witnesses confirmed seeing the same man. They said the button looked like a Citizens Alliance button, the pro-company group that had been aggressively opposed to the strike. According to witnesses, the man had shouted fire in a loud, commanding voice, then spread his arms wide and yelled, "Rush!" before turning and disappearing into the chaos, never to be identified. At the bottom of the stairs, bodies were piled 4 and 5 feet high, wedged together so tightly that rescuers had to use ladders to reach the second floor and
What?
remove victims from the top down. Children's bodies were crushed beneath entire
Jesus.
families who died together, their small hands still clutching candy bags they'd received from Santa just moments before. 74 people died in that stairwell. 59 of them were
Holy shit! I thought just like 10 or 12. 70. What? And who the fuck is that guy? Oh shit! The guy just like spreading his arm and then make people panic. 70 something people died. Jesus Christ! That guy is Lelouch from from Code Geass. The command magic. Holy shit, man! He just caused a stampede and 70 people died. Fucking stupid! What the fuck? Even the kids as well, man. So, like a main villain. It's a main villain.
children,
Oh,
some
shit.
as young as 2 years old. The
2
entire
years old?
community was devastated. The strike had already broken families financially, but now it had broken them in an even more tragic, irreversible way. The tragedy became known as the Italian Hall disaster, one of the deadliest incidents in American labor history. The very next day, December 25th,
Jesus.
Charles Moyer, president of the Western Federation of Miners, arrived in Calumet. He immediately called the entire tragedy an act of mass murder and accused the Citizens Alliance of orchestrating the panic. When the Alliance offered a $25,000 donation to the victims' families, Moyer publicly refused it, calling it blood money. That night, around 2 a.m., approximately 25 men wearing Citizens Alliance buttons stormed Moyer's hotel room. They beat him viciously, shot him in the back, and dragged his bleeding body to the railway station. They threw him onto a Chicago-bound train with orders never to return to Calumet. He never did. No one was ever arrested for the assault on Moyer, and no one was ever identified as the man who yelled fire in the Italian Hall. An inquest was held, but no charges were filed. The mining company denied any involvement. The Citizens Alliance denied any involvement. The mystery of who caused the panic, and whether it was intentional mass murder or a tragic false alarm, was never solved. A memorial now stands at the site, remembering the 73 lives lost, especially the 59 children who went to a Christmas party and never came home.
Jesus Christ.
On December 9th, 1967, a crowd of 2,000 spectators gathered at the North Park Shopping Center near Mill Road and First Avenue in Evansville, Indiana. The parking lot was packed with families, and children were everywhere, hundreds of them, bundled up against the December cold. They were there to watch Santa Claus
Hold on. That's a weird fucking balloon. What the?
Avenue in Evansville, Indiana. The parking lot was packed with families, and children were everywhere, hundreds of them, bundled up against the
Yeah, it's a balloon with stick on it, not... Yeah. It's also transparent, what the hell?
cold.
What kind of
They were
balloon
there
is
to
that?
watch Santa Claus arrive. By helicopter. From the North Pole, of course. For children in 1967, seeing a helicopter
cool.
in flight was still something of a novelty. Commercial helicopter travel was rare. Actually, most of these kids had never even seen one up close, so the excitement in the crowd was palpable. Everyone was watching, waiting. The event had been organized by the North Park Merchants Association to promote holiday shopping at their stores. They wanted something spectacular, something memorable.
No,
something
it's
that
not
would draw
common.
crowds.
What balloon use stick? What is it called? Stick balloon? Oh, it's this thing. Ah, shit. I'm so stupid. This thing. Ha! God damn it. Yeah, it's this thing. And the video is also black and white. I didn't fucking recognize it. And also, we don't really like, what do you call it? Take it with this as actually. This is, I think you buy it so you can have like put it in the, like a flash. Is it flash? What do you call it again? You know those places when you put flower, but instead flower they just put balloon on it, and then this is like basically like a flower petal, like the balloon. We just like take the balloon and use the Oh, it's this thing. How can I fucking forget, man? Every time we go to the birthday, this one always in the wall. They just like tie it up together with bunch of balloon, tie it up together with this, and then plant it into the wall. Yeah, it's shit. I forgot the name as well in Indonesia for this. There's a name for this actually. But yeah, god damn it, how can I forget? the birthday stick balloon.
At their stores, they wanted something spectacular, something memorable, something that would draw crowds and make headlines. They certainly got the headline.
What is it again?
Merchants Association to promote holiday shopping at their stores. They wanted something spectacular, something memorable, something that would draw crowds and make headlines. They certainly got the headlines, just
yeah, already born 30 years old.
Hughes 300 utility
I skipped the entire tutorial.
Owner of Crescent City Aviation and president of the Indiana Aviation Training Association. Dorr was an experienced pilot who had participated in several local
helicopter is always cool. I still feel like a child every time I heard helicopter.
He knew what he was doing. Playing the part of Santa was William C. Bretz, a 42-year-old tool and die maker at Whirlpool who had often portrayed the character during the holidays. Bretz loved being Santa. His wife Lorena had hand-sewn his Santa suit specifically for this event, and even
I thought the Santa looking like I thought the Santa looking like this, like holy shit. He's not gonna bring you gift. He's gonna give you a restraint order.
Lorena had hand-sewn his Santa suit specifically for this event, and even showed up with their 2 children, watching excitedly as the helicopter approached with their father.
That would be so cool, man.
The plan was for the helicopter to approach from the north, circle the shopping center once, then land at a designated area of the parking lot where Santa would greet the children and hand out candy. At first, everything seemed fine. The crowd was cheering. Children were jumping up and down. The helicopter was coming in low, preparing to land. But then, the helicopter's top
Oh
blade
shit.
clipped a high-voltage power line, causing a shower of sparks. To some in the crowd, it looked like a firework display to herald Santa's arrival, a planned special effect. But the pilot, William Dorr, knew immediately what had happened. He tried desperately to move away from the wire, pulling up, adjusting course. Unfortunately, the blade contacted the wire a second time and snapped the power line completely. In a
Oh
split
boy.
second, the helicopter's battery was violently ejected from the craft when it hit the power line. The battery flew through the air like a missile, crashed through the windshield of an unoccupied car park nearby, and exploded, showering the area with fragments and battery acid. The helicopter flipped upside down, nosedived, and crashed onto the pavement within 10 feet of the crowd. The impact was catastrophic. Parents screamed and rushed their families from the area, trying to
Oh
cover their
shit.
children's eyes. Several brave spectators rushed to the downed craft, hoping to free the men inside. When paramedics arrived minutes later, they found that William C. Brett's Santa Claus had likely died on impact.
I
The
mean,
crash
yeah,
had been too
look at it.
severe. William Dorr, the pilot, was still alive, but
Oh.
critically injured. He was rushed to Deaconess Hospital, but succumbed to his injuries a short time later.
Damn.
The downed power line left much of the north side of Evansville without electricity for 3 hours. But the psychological damage to the community would last much longer. Hundreds of children had just watched Santa Claus die right in front of them. Local newspapers
I'm about to say like the Santa died, man. The Santa died in front of them. Yeah, I'm sorry. No more Christmas next year. They need to find another Santa for that. The first one died. Holy shit.
immediately published articles aimed at reassuring traumatized children. They explained that the real Santa was safe and unharmed at the North Pole, that the man in the crash had simply been a helper or stand-in, one of Santa's many assistants who helped him during the busy Christmas season.
Better use the reindeer. Yeah, better just use the reindeer. Helicopter never safe to begin with. Holy shit. Reindeer can do bunch of stuff. Fucking helicopter, why? Just use the reindeer. Fly with it.
Helper or stand-in.
Fly
one
with
of
the
Santa's many
reindeer,
assistants
Santa.
who helped him during the busy Christmas season. But for the hundreds of children who watched it happen, there
Yeah.
was no comfort. The magic of Christmas had been shattered, and no amount of reassurance could undo what they
Jesus
witnessed.
Christ.
The investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration revealed several critical failures. At the time, the FAA required approval for helicopter landings at unordinary sites, but no approval had been sought or granted for the North Park Santa landing.
There you go.
Organizers had simply assumed they could land wherever they wanted. On February 1969, more than a year after the crash, the Federal Transportation and Safety Administration issued its final report. They determined that Dorr hadn't properly surveyed the landing area for obstacles like power lines. The low-hanging wires weren't clearly visible from altitude, especially in December's flat light. The North Park Shopping Center continued operating for decades, but the shadow of that day never quite left. For those who were there,
They should make like a monument. Santa died. Santa died right here on the, whatever date that the helicopter fall. But yeah, fucking hell. Again, it's a old, I don't know what's the date again? 19 something. It's a 19 something year.
it became
The
day
regulation is
Santa
still not
died in
perfect.
Evansville.
Yeah.
And thus concludes the 12 Deaths of Christmas. We hope you've learned something from these.
I didn't even realize that this video is about death in Christmas. I just read this one, the entire family died thing. God damn it. Every time I see like a story of people died on the internet, it's probably like the most ridiculous one. I love it. I mean, I do not love watching people die, so obviously. I just love like a weird story and shit like that. I think it's awesome. Like creepy pasta and shit.